meeting to order at 5:17. Roll call.
Mrs. Bond,
Here.
Mrs. Duff,
Here.
Mrs. Gay, Mrs. Grooms,
Here.
Mrs. Harlow.
Here. We'll make a motion to excuse.
I make a motion to excuse. And
All in
I'll
fa-
second it.
All in favor, I guess. Okay. Have you had a chance to read the minutes of the last meeting? Any changes or corrections?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we'll submit them as approved.
Alrighty, thank you. As we get started here, we'll go ahead and get a vote for a chair and vice chair for the beginning of the year. So,
I nominate Sylvia.
we
I second that. And nominate Patty for second chair, co-chair.
perfect. Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll
Okay, so
second that.
on chair, Mrs. Duff,
Yes.
Mrs. Grooms,
Yes.
Mrs. Harlow,
Yes.
Mrs. Bond,
Yes.
and then on vice chair, Mrs. Harlow,
Yes.
Mrs. Bond,
Yes.
Mrs. Duff,
Yes.
and Mrs. Grooms.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and get started into business. I did want to get started with our Tree City USA status. So you may have saw that in your packets. Coincidentally, it was a week ago today on February 11th that we did get the approval for Tree City USA. So we did get the status back up. It'll be 14 years for this year. So we're about to hit that golden 15 years next year. But I did want to thank Parks and Rec Department for their help in getting that, especially Brett and Kelly with the Arbor Day event that's needed. City Council with the proclamation, the Street Department for their maintenance of the trees, the Community Development Department for their support and initiatives in this, as well as the Tree Board for all of your support and being present at these meetings and giving input on the Tree Board. So thank you. Let's see here. With that, they're going to have an award ceremony in Wyoming, Ohio on April 24th. So that'll be the next thing for us to get the new stickers on the signs. I'm thinking about working with the streets department on expanding our Tree City USA signs in the city. You may have learned we're getting all new Welcome to Moraine signs throughout the city. Those are actually probably going to be installed in early March or so. So all the old signs that you see around, those are going to be removed and replaced with an all-new design and everything.
I was part of that
So
back in the day.
we're going to make sure to, I do want to incorporate Tree City USA and make sure it's seen by the public very well and everything, that we have that status. And then with that, I'm going to go into other business with our tree guide. So I pulled a guide from the Growing Home website in regards to growing trees in Ohio. So I'm not going to get into every single nitty-gritty of this, but just wanted you to review this. Just going over the best flowering trees to grow in Ohio, the best shade trees in Ohio, the best fruit trees in Ohio, and let's see here, did I miss one? What I wanted to highlight on for this meeting specifically was a lot of the common questions that a lot of Ohio residents ask, which is, when is the best time to plant trees? And the best time to plant trees in Ohio is from late fall through early spring. If you do plant on a windy day, it's important to stake your tree for its first year because the stress can rot your tree essentially and shift it over. So that's something important to do, and keep an eye out for insects that chew holes into your leaves and into your tree trunk itself. Another question a lot of Ohio residents ask is, can you plant all season long? That is kind of a iffy question. Usually the only trees you can plant year-round in Ohio are pine trees because they're pretty receptive to a lot of weather and Humidity changes throughout the year. And then what are the best trees to plant each season in Ohio? So in the springtime, I know this article mentions ash trees. They are nice trees, but as you know, they get diseased very easily and they are not recommended for planting. However, the dogwood tree is a very popular choice nowadays that a lot of arborists go with for a long-lasting tree. In the summertime, a red maple or sweet gum tree, as they can grow quickly and they change colors throughout the season. And then the fall time with the colder weather, you should plant a white oak in your yard. And wintertime black walnuts are an option for winter as well because they provide great shade and lots of nutrients to the soil and helps keep other plants healthier throughout the different seasons. And lastly, what trees have the least invasive roots in Ohio? The least invasive trees in Ohio are the eastern redbud, the empress tree, and the western flowering dogwood. So the dogwood tree is a very popular tree to plant and is very popular in this part of Ohio. Other than that, I just wanted to go over that guide and give you the Tree City USA status. We are very excited about that. Are there any questions or anything that I can help answer?
This thing in April in, I don't know where Wyoming, Ohio is.
Wyoming, Ohio. It's
Where?
actually south of Dayton, north of Cincinnati. It's in Hamilton County.
Oh,
It's just below Westchester, so not too far away. They are limiting it to 4 people per city, so Brent and I are going to have to reconvene and kind of have a discussion about it to see what
that's
we
fine.
can do. So just to give you a heads up, they sent out a article or a invite to us, and they said that we're limited to 4 people max for each city. So because
That's
everyone
fine.
in Ohio will be at this, or at least in this section of Ohio will
Well,
be
that's
there.
really
So
nice.
yeah, so it is just south of here, probably about 45, 50 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
So,
Did we
Yeah.
talk about that in this meeting?
yes, yep, yep. But are there any other questions or anything regarding the Tree City USA status or any tree tips or anything? All good? All righty. The only other thing I have is the meeting, as Brent said in the previous meeting, on April 15th is when we'll meet again. Other than that, I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call it meeting adjourned by 20.
Mhm. So